All right, let's jump right in. We've got these incredible, super powerful AI models, right? They can do a bit of everything, but the real magic, the thing that changes the game, is turning them from a generalist into a specialist. So, this is your playbook for doing exactly that. We're going to break down the three main ways to do it: prompting, RAG, and fine tuning.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How do you take an AI that knows a little bit about, well, everything, and turn it into a genuine expert? I'm talking a world-class pro in something specific, like medicine or finance, or maybe just an expert on your company's internal data. That's the puzzle we are going to piece together today.
So, here's how we're going to tackle it. First, we'll look at the big picture, the whole optimization puzzle. Then, we'll dive into prompt engineering for some quick wins. After that, we'll cover RAG, which is all about feeding the AI fresh facts. Then we'll get into the heavy-duty stuff, fine-tuning. And the best part? We'll see how they all come together to create a hybrid gold standard. And finally, we'll wrap up with what this all means for your AI strategy. Okay, first up, the LLM optimization puzzle. Let's start by understanding these three core strategies. Think of them less as competing options and more like different tools in your toolbox, each one perfect for a specific job.
Now, this table right here, this is basically your cheat sheet for this entire explainer. Seriously, keep this mental map in your head as we go. It lays out all the trade-offs at a glance. You see, on one end, you've got prompt engineering. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's fantastic for just directing the AI's behavior. Then, smack in the middle, you've got RAG. It's superpower, giving the AI fresh, up-to-the-minute facts. And all the way at the other end is fine-tuning. This is your high-cost, high-complexity option, but it's what you use when you need to teach the model a fundamentally new skill. It's all about picking the right tool for the right job.
All right, let's grab our first and honestly most accessible tool from the toolbox, prompt engineering. This is all about getting way better results from the model you already have, like right now, without any fancy setup.
So what is it? The best way to think about it is like giving a really talented chef a super specific recipe. You're not changing the chef, they're still the same brilliant cook. You're just giving them crystal clear instructions so you get exactly the dish you're craving. It's really just the art of asking the right question in the right way. And there are a bunch of ways to do this. For example, you can give the model a persona. Tell it, you are a cybersecurity architect. That's called role priming. Or you can show it a few examples of what you want. That's called few-shot prompting. And one of my favorites, for really complex problems, you just add the magic phrase, let's think step by step. It's amazing how that kicks its logical reasoning into gear. These are simple tricks, but believe me, they are incredibly powerful. Okay, but what happens when giving instructions isn't enough? What if your model needs to know things it was never trained on, like today's news? Well, that's where our next tool comes in, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as everyone calls it, RAG. So if prompting was like giving the chef a recipe, RAG is like giving that chef access to a live, constantly updated pantry. Think about that. Instead of just using the ingredients they have memorized, they can now reach out and pull in the absolute freshest, most relevant facts for every single dish they make. And the way it works is actually pretty brilliant. It's a simple four-step dance. 1, you ask a question. 2, the system instantly searches an external database. This could be the internet, or better yet, your company's private documents. 3, it finds the most relevant chunks of info and secretly stuffs them into your prompt. And 4, it tells the LLM, hey, answer this person's question, but only use these facts I just gave you. It's like an open book test for the AI. And this leads us to the single most important thing to remember about RAG. It is our #1 weapon against AI hallucinations. You know, when the model just makes stuff up. Because the AI is forced to base its answer on the evidence we provide, its responses become grounded in reality. This is absolutely essential for any app that needs to be accurate and up to date. All right, time for our third and most powerful tool, fine-tuning. Now, this is a whole different ballgame. We're not just giving instructions or facts anymore. We are fundamentally changing the model's brain to teach it a brand new skill. To wrap up our chef analogy, fine-tuning is like sending our chef to a highly specialized culinary academy. They aren't just learning a new recipe. They are deeply immersing themselves in the entire art of a new cuisine. Whether that's Japanese sushi or French pastry, it literally changes their internal skills and how they think about food. It's deep learning. Okay, this slide answers the million-dollar question. When do I use RAG and when do I fine-tune? And the answer is actually really simple. Remember this. You fine-tune for style and you use RAG for facts. So if you need the AI to adopt your specific brand voice or write in a complex legal format, you fine-tune. But if you need it to know today's stock price or quote your company's latest HR policy, you use RAG. Style versus substance. That's the core difference.
Now, you're probably thinking, whoa, fine-tuning sounds really expensive and complicated. And, traditionally, you'd be right. But modern techniques like PEFT and one you'll hear a lot about called LoRa have been a total game changer. They let us update just a tiny, tiny fraction of the model's parameters, giving us that deep specialization without the insane compute costs we used to have. So we've got our 3 tools: prompting, RAG, and fine-tuning. But here's the real secret, the pro move. The best in the business don't just pick one. They combine them. And this is the modern gold standard. Yeah, just as our source material points out, the future, and honestly the present, is all about this hybrid approach. It's so common now, it even has its own name, Retrieval-Augmented Fine-Tuning, or RAFT. The idea could be simpler. You fine-tune the model for the style you want, and then you use RAG to feed it the real-time knowledge it needs.
Let's make this real. Look at medical diagnostics. First, you'd fine-tune a model to understand all that complex medical jargon and to reason like a doctor. And that's the style part. Then, you use RAG to pull in the absolute latest research papers and, crucially, the specific patient's medical records. What do you get? You get an AI expert that not only talks the talk of medicine, but also has the most current, relevant data at its fingertips. You see the same powerful pattern in finance. You'd fine-tune the AI to master the specific format and professional tone of a risk assessment report. Then you use RAG to inject live, up-to-the-minute market data. The result? You get a financial expert that not only sounds right, but is right because its analysis is based on today's numbers, not last year's. And let's do one more high-stakes example, legal and compliance. You fine-tune the model so it can read and think like a seasoned lawyer, understanding the nuances of case law. Then you use RAG to make sure it's basing all of its arguments on the very latest regulatory changes, not some outdated law that was in its original training data. Again, it's style from fine-tuning and facts from RAG, the perfect combo. Okay, so let's bring this all home. After looking at all this, what does it mean for your strategy when you're building with AI? It really all boils down to this one simple, powerful equation. The modern AI playbook isn't about choosing between these methods, it's about combining them. You use fine-tuning to teach your model how to behave, the style, and you use RAG to tell it what to know, the knowledge. Style plus knowledge equals a true AI expert. It's that simple. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As these incredibly powerful hybrid techniques get easier and cheaper to implement, the barrier to creating these highly specialized, expert-level AIs is just plummeting. So the question isn't really if we can build them anymore. The real question is, what new kinds of experts will you choose to build? Hey, if you found this breakdown useful and it cleared some things up for you, do me a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe for more deep dives. We really love taking these complex topics and making them super clear and actionable. Thanks so much for tuning in.